I have Artec Studio. It's a $1,500 to $1,700 a year program, or like almost $4,000 one-time pay with no updates for 3D scanners, specifically for Artec 3D scanner. It used to be called their system for determining how much horsepower your machine had, right? So they would run these tests to determine how hard this can hit your PC before you run out of resources, so that you don't run out of resources when you're processing 3D scan data, which is a very, very cool thing to do. That's why I love the Artec Studio software, because it is so resource light compared to other 3D scanning softwares on the market. In their latest Artec Studio 19, they rebranded that to their neural network training, which is the exact same thing, but they've just changed the name to be something that is just ambiguous. And according to Chris Catlett, who is kind of like one of the big tech guys in our Discord server,
Yeah.
it is not technically incorrect. But like, why did they not use the term prior? Was it because the buzzword itself wasn't well understood, so nobody used it? Like, it upset me that they changed the name, because to me, it's the exact same thing, where you just basically you're running Prime 95 to see how hard you can hit my CPU, my GPU, how much RAM that we have, how fast all of that stuff is, so that you can keep your thermals under check, your RAM speeds under check. That way you're not exceeding the processing power of a computer. Why change the name? Companies like DaVinci, with their latest DaVinci 20, with their AI voice isolation, it's the same voice isolation. They just put AI on it. They just put the word AI on it. And the frustration that myself and our two editors currently have shared over this stupid nomenclature thing, because they're just following the term of, oh, we're going to put AI on everything, is so frustrating.
Machine learning is technically AI. I want to get that out of the way. It is technically AI, but it's dumb AI. It's very deterministic, meaning input equal output pretty much every single time. There are a lot of other types of machine learning, like Q learning. You've got tree-based like flow method. There's a lot that go on. And now what is more commonly known as AI is the deep learning side. So it's
Right.
still a machine learning pipeline, but this is where that black box starts getting built, where it's now so complicated with so much progressive compute going on. We physically now do not know how to figure out how they've done what they've done. Like, we can look at individual sections, but a lot of it is just alien to us now. And that's where we're starting to get to those convolutional neural networks, or more commonly transformer models, which is what runs GPT. So they take tokenized input, they transform it to something else, they generate something, and then they push it as an output. That is more commonly known as AI nowadays. You've also got diffusion methods, where they're very efficient, because that is where they start as just all the data is noise, and then they diffuse it into an object. That's more commonly art, though we are now starting as a collective community to start looking at doing that for text-based output or math-based output. But generally, diffusion is art output, because it's easier to make images
Is that why
with
it's called
random
Stable
noise within.
Diffusion? Is that why
Yep.
they call it Stable Diffusion?
Yep.
I legitimately didn't know that. I'm learning
Yep.
stuff today. So we were going to get into talking about this before the show, but I said, stop. I want my reactions to be real, right? I don't want to have to fake it on the show. Like, I had no idea why it was called Stable Diffusion. I just thought it was a name, right? I didn't know. Like, I know GPT stands for something in ChatGPT. I don't know what the hell it stands for, but it's clearly an acronym. But I didn't know that Stable Diffusion, that the diffusion part of it, or Stable Diffusion period, is an actual like type of AI, ML, and all that.
So when I was talking earlier about transformer models being ChatGPT, can you guess what the T in GPT stands for? Transformer.
Transform.
It's generative pre-trained transformers.
But are they Autobots or Decepticons?
It's Decepticons. They lie to you straight through their face, and they'll tell you it's not lying. But so that is like the main difference between machine learning and AI as we know it nowadays. There's this nice line between deterministic and it does whatever it does, and we have no idea how it does it. And that is really the difference. Also, just for reference, diffusion models, which are again mostly the art stuff, they run on your GPU predominantly. They're
Yes.
really fast. They're parallel processed throughout the ass because it does image segments the entire image at once. GPT is a transformer based model, which means it takes tokens. So it literally reads a token, does a thing, reads a token, does a thing,
Mm.
and it generates from a string, which is why it can start very strong and then end up wisping out into a nothing burger.
I now I want to get my buddy David Shorey on the show because he's some of the stable diffusion stuff that he's doing. He used to come on the Friday call from time to time. There's a
Mm,
maker call that Matt Stoltz puts on every Friday from 9 to midnight Eastern. Follow him, Matt Stoltz, over on Blue Sky if you want to come hang out with us. David Shorey used to come on and he would share his screen, which was just the Zoom screen of everyone hanging out on Zoom. And he would be changing each person's video output to be something else. So like one person was like some sort of famous artist painting as they were moving around and he was getting like 6 or 8 frames per second. So like
pretty good.
okay, it's not very smooth, but you're doing 30 individual things that are different at a time. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. And he focuses on like the bleeding edge some of the things David Shorey is doing. I would love to have that man on, but he is difficult to reach these days. He's very like deep into what he does. But yeah, how do we feel about AI for 3D printing? Now, I want to preface this with like different kind of categories. The I tell a program something and it generates the design. So I've seen on Instagram, I've never actually tried it, but I've seen like, the
Yep.
Instagram reels of people doing it where they talk
It's
to
not good.
no, some of them are actually quite good. We're like, I need you to design me a 11 millimeter cylinder with a hole of 5 millimeter
Mm,
diameter going through the center of it. I then need you to curve it 90 degrees. I need you to put these holes in it. For very simple stuff, I actually kind of like it because it brings some basic level of design into the hands of the average person. But I also believe that like Tinkercad exists too. So
so
do the slicers themselves have basic designing properties. And I'm wondering if that does get better, how would I feel about it when I say, "Here's an image of my great grandmother. Can you turn her into a lifelike full color 3D model?"
okay, interestingly, you can already do that. And secondly, though the process of what you just said with like the Tinkercad do shapes, do a thing to the shape,
Yeah.
is a very different process to here's a picture, make a 3D model from a picture. They run on two separate process paths. And that is one of the things that we need to be aware of is an AI that can generate 3D models is not going to be the same AI that generates engineering 3D models. They are very different in terms of their capability. It's important to actually step one step further back into what AI is good at the moment
Okay.
versus what it will be good at in the future. So it harkens
Yeah.
to what I said at the very start of the stream is AI is actually pretty bad at everything. It's generalist. But that also means if you give it complex math like do CAD, it will fail horribly unless it is literally cube with a hole. It will do an awful job. And it's because AI is actually, and I hate to say it because it kind of humanizes it, AI works better with tools like humans do. If you give AI the ability to program, it will program a tool that it can then control to give you the output.
Okay.
And that is going to be the big difference between AI we currently see at the moment, where they're kind of trying to just brute force do the thing
Right.
all at
Right.
once, and giving it here is a tool set, here's the calculator, here's a drawing table with set rules that you can stick to. Go use that to do the output and then review the output as you do it. That is a very big difference. And it's also a big difference between here is a tool set to generate something and here is a picture that you then need to make a model from. Those are two very different process nodes.
Some of the Maker World stuff, I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy and quite good. But at the same time, it is kind of removing base level 3D modelers from the
Mm.
industry, right? So
I
like
do.
this 2D photo to 3D model, if it is even remotely good, that is such a time intensive thing. Like for us as 3D Musketeers, if you give us an image and you want us to make a photorealistic 3D model, the minimum we are charging you is $1,000. The minimum we are charging is $1,000. Often it is double that by the time we're all done. But we are providing you with a proper photorealistic model that has levels of texture that you can't describe. The models that we're building are often 100 million poly or larger, right? They're huge. We
Yeah.
can use decimation and things like that to bring it down, but we start with a really high quality model in case you want to do something big. Because the last thing you want is like to have a 1 million polygon model and then you need to make it jerry rig everything where he did the concrete 3D printed thing.
Yep.
He ended up with a relatively low resolution model at the end of the day because that's what he did. So it is a different process. But if that gets you 80% of the way there, you provide that hopefully full color 3D model to a artist, whether it's a Fiverr artist, somebody you know, whatever, to then do the rest of it. Well, hold on here. There's some
So
value to that.
AI is not good enough at the current stage to replace people, but it will change eventually. And I do think it will hit the bottom levels first, but necessarily that's okay because the type of jobs where AI is good at and humans are good at are very different. At the moment, AI is not good enough as creative. You can give it a direction, it can do a thing, but it isn't the vision you have in your head. And that is what we want to see realized half the time. When you're
Right.
doing a design, AI is developing so fast, what we say here could literally be out of date in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
This is filmed live June 15th, 2025. In 2025, this is our understanding. I have no formal
Mm,
education in AI. In fact, quite frankly, it often humbles me and makes me quite intimidated to use it. Jacob has more of a formal education in it, but to be
but that's not up to
formally,
date.
yeah, but to be formally
That's
educated,
just
you have to do it
more
all the time.
hobbyist level now. The tools for 3D printing and AI will become much better
Whether we
over
want to
time.
or not. Yes, it will.
There's no denying AI will now grow and become trained, and it will become a useful tool eventually, and then possibly a replacement tool in the coming future.
Okay.
At the moment, AI is good for really a few things. It's good at taking a 2D image, turning it 3D, and
Mhm.
then possibly retessellating it. And it's good at soundproofing critical decisions you want to do, but it's not very good at generating usable 3D models as it currently is. You do have to oversee it on everything and then probably go in and fix things. Where it's going, however, is what is more interesting. And this is what's going to change the bedrock of the industry. And it's actually one of the bits that were in YJK video that I think is amazing. And it's having integration at a lower level to bring up the knowledge requirement, the slicer. God,
Just
what?
Prin.
Just print because it has no T.
Yeah.
That's how I
It's
remember
in
it.
our
Just
notes. That's
print.
the only reason I know it. The Spaghetti
Uh,
Detective slash Just Print G code generator for 3D printers.
yes. So just print. From the looks of it, it just wrapped a GPT large language model wrapper around Orca Slicer, and you give it text inputs of, I have this model. So you give it the model
Mhm.
in the slicer. It will look at the model and you tell it what you want out of that model. So you'll say, I want this slightly strong part, or I want it to look kind of good. And then it will determine, do you need support material? Do you need to increase the strength of the part?
That's
Do
cool.
you need to rotate it? Very useful. It's very bare bones at the moment, but that is a really good tool. It's almost distilling
Dude,
your knowledge grant into the slicer. So it will look at the
I
part
do
going,
like
hey,
that. Yeah. No, like,
then it goes on to the second bit. If you print it and you don't like what it came out with,
uh-huh.
you can then go back to it and go, it didn't look very good. It failed in this area. It wasn't strong enough. I need to have it a higher quality, but also stronger. It will then go back through and change all the settings to something it believes will create a better output
Dude,
to what you ask it. Very cool.
that is super
Exceptionally
cool. I have some concerns about it obviously, but if you are brand new to the industry and you have no idea what to do and you're wanting to learn the slicer, holy crap, is
amazing.
that's
Because you can question it about the
well,
slicer, but also the part.
especially if it is now, if it doesn't do this, I would love it to. If it is giving you the reasoning for doing what it
It
does.
does.
Oh my
It
god.
does.
Oh, so
So it will be like, I've changed wall thickness from this to this because you wanted stronger parts, walls gave me stronger. I changed infill from this to this
oh,
because the
dude,
hex pattern is strong. It's a very nice tool to quickly learn. Now, it isn't
that's
perfect.
cool.
It pushes the skill set of the user from doing the software, where your skills are learning the
Yeah.
software, to learning how to explain what you want to do.
But that's
Because if
dude,
you
that is
don't explain it,
so
it's not very good.
good. That's so good. That's so good. If we have more people being able to describe what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why, even if they're wrong for why they're doing it, if they understand what it is, we can help them understand the why better. Like Spaghetti Detective slash JustPrint. Also, isn't Spaghetti Detective Opico? I think.
Yes, I think they've forked it from an
Okay.
Obico
Well,
repository.
JustPrint, if you're watching this, I don't know if this is a business or whatever. I would love to talk to you all and look at having you sponsor an episode of Print Fix Friday where we show off your software. So,
Mm.
unfortunately, I'm sorry, YGK. Now I can't watch your video because I don't want my opinion of it to be modified until after we potentially do something with them. I will watch it at some point, but now it's on a hard hold for me because this is super cool and could be like the key to solving the major issues that we have with Print Fix Friday, which is the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Dude,
Now, I
like,
will say, at the moment,
God, that's
there
so
are
cool.
missing bits. They're like,
Sure.
this is a taste of how good it could be, and it's gonna get better as everything gets better. And I really want to see this developed further because it's just that bloody cool. But it also highlights the areas that we can improve on, which is, say you've got a failure. How do you explain it to the AI? What is the failure?
Well, the
And for
Spaghetti
anyone asking, the
Detective,
AI I mean in this place is a large language model, ChatGPT, and
well, if you
it's
take
using
the
the
Spaghetti
JustPrint
Detective,
slicer as a tool.
the Spaghetti Detective has a lot of this already built into it, right? Obiko and the Spaghetti Detective, their entire software not only detects the print failures, but is able to identify what it's looking at. And it's not perfect. It's pretty damn good. Like, especially like again, right? VFAs are not going to be something that your average camera can pick up and determine that your print is getting VFAs and be able to actively adjust the G code during the print. Like, oh, you forgot to put some support there. That could tell you, hey, we noticed you forgot to put support here. Here are the settings that you need to do to ensure that support material is turned on for your print in the future. Like, brother, that would be so good and so valuable for that first timer. Like, we're seeing companies, so Bamboo does it, Prusa does it now too, where it's just click print. You
Yep.
go onto their, respective model repositories, and you have your machine connected to the internet, connected to their varying levels of data collecting software. You tell it, I want to, for Prusa, it's called Easy Print. Great name. You say, I want Easy Print. You click the Easy Print button, boom. Goes to your machine, starts printing. What settings does it use? I don't know. I haven't tried it.
I see
And
this as the next level
well,
of easy print.
I do too. It is awesome for first timers that really don't want to bother with software. This idea of having an intermediary, like a digital grant, if you will,
Pretty much.
to hold your hand and walk you through, even if it gets some things wrong. I get things wrong all the time. But the start of that, you want to talk about democratization of 3D printing?
That's
This
it.
is how you do it. Literally, this is the one thing that we're kind of missing to have a real world democratization of 3D printing, which is you can do it, but you still need kind of a technical background to understand the machine, to understand the software, to understand even working on the machine, like
Yep.
servicing it, maintaining it. This solves one of those big problems of, let's say someone who isn't technical wants to get a 3D printer because they want to integrate it into their small business. This solves that problem.
This is honestly where I kind of see Bamboo Lab going. Even though Bamboo Lab haven't done this is just an open source project. They're collecting so much data of models, locations, orientations, print settings from all the files. They have the training data starting to be formed. Eventually, it would honestly, this is free advice to you, Bamboo. Use that data to train something like this, where you actually have all of that data set to reinforce the learning process of whatever AI integration you want to insert.
Yeah.
You can then use that as a base because most people are probably going to do it correctly. even if it's not perfect all the time, you've got the data now. You can work with that, and that's
That's a
where I
big
see it going.
deal. Honestly, any 3D printing manufacturer out there that has the software support, you should be looking into doing something like this. If you have the throughput to do it, it's like
Mm.
Prusa, pay attention. Bamboo, pay attention. Creality and the others, you're just going to copy somebody else's, so pay attention to what they're doing. I worry though that businesses, and this the same, this is always the problem that I have with AI and LLMs that don't run locally. People are stupid. They're inherently stupid. I'm stupid. You're stupid. The viewers are stupid. Everybody is inherently stupid. And because we are, everybody is, we will make mistakes where you accidentally upload something to an AI that all of a sudden now enters its training data. So let's say I'm learning using the spaghetti detective slash JustPrint, and I'm working on some sort of invention. Right, I'm a first time inventor. I bought my own 3D printer because I called up 3D Musketeers. They told me it was going to be a lot more money than I wanted to spend, so I said, "F it, I'm going to do it myself." And because I don't know what I'm doing, I go get the Spaghetti Detective slash JustPrint. Now I've uploaded my trade secret that I haven't patented yet because it's expensive to a LLM that is now going to use that as training data. And the USPTO has not yet come out with, is uploading that kind of thing accidentally or otherwise to an LLM the definition of a public disclosure? I don't know. And I worry that companies are going to do this and they're going to expose company secrets, or it's going to be as rough as the War Thunder.
We are 0 days from posting military secrets on the War Thunder
Yeah,
forum.
like the amount of ITAR violations that occur on the War Thunder forums alone are astounding.
An LLM probably doesn't care about your one file you're going to upload because that's not how they work. They don't recall information in the same way that a human does. So if you uploaded, let's call it missile component number 3, like really super secret, you cannot let anyone take this, and you uploaded it to the LLM and it's in the data set now, you're probably still fine because it's not going to generate an output which is exactly what you just put in because it's a generalist. It will blur the lines, it will merge it into the knowledge set, and it might influence the output,
It might,
but
but
it will generally be fine.
is it a public disclosure? Right? So
I would say no, but yes.
we literally have to wait for this to become a court case and then allow the courts to decide, because that's really the only way that we can fundamentally determine, right? I look at it from like a defense contractor.
Yep.
Upper management says we need to use AI more often, so they roll out an AI to every department. The tech department has problems with it, but they're told by upper management, we don't care, this makes our team more efficient, it's fine. And then someone from the team accidentally uploads, or they don't know any better, or no training was provided. I look at the threat of AI to businesses being the fact that what was once trade secret is no longer, or could be no
My
longer.
my gut feel is it will all come down to one decision on that initial like court case. It's which AI did they upload it to? My gut feel. I could be
Like,
completely wrong. Literally, this could happen in a week, and they could go the other way.
if it
If
runs
you uploaded
internally,
some,
it's fine.
no, not even that. If they uploaded it to say OpenAI, which is a closed source AI, I could see the argument that it's not a public disclosure. It was just an accidental leak. But if it was, say, uploaded to a llama model or a Claude model, which are the datasets are available and they are given, then that is public disclosure because it's a public dataset. So I would say it all depends on which one they upload it to when the law gets made. If it was OpenAI, I could see they would say, oh, no, no, it's not that. And then it's fine. And if it goes the other way, they'll go, oh, it is that. And then it's fine.
That also requires our
I am
our,
not a
our
lawyer. This is not legal advice, by the
well,
way.
it
I am
literally
not any of
requires
that.
the lawyers, the judges, the jury. It requires everybody associated with the case to actually understand this. Where do we sit with, like, I love this idea of a slicer with an integrated LLM, and I don't even mind it being cloud-based, but I
This is
do
just the slicer. This is one segment of the whole
I know,
3D
but
printing
this to me is like what
requirement.
AI to me, I see a lot of value. The thing that I want is I want a dedicated AI button so I can turn it on or off. And every time you turn it on, you have to accept that it is going to send your model data, your G code, whatever it needs to send to a cloud service, to a GPT, to whatever. That way, you can't complain and say, I didn't know. You click the button, you knew, and if you didn't read it, that's your fault, not anybody else's.